So the seventh Parliament of the Fourth Republic is in session duly. My next guest was in the sixth Parliament, Mr. George Lewis, former MP for North Dai. Good morning to you. This is like first day out of Parliament, right?
Well,
Because it dissolved Friday.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, officially, let's say so.
Yeah. How are you? I mean, do you realize what has happened?
Well, not much has changed.
Okay.
For me, I don't know for others. I can't speak for myself. Not much has changed. Today is a Monday.
Yeah, today's a Monday. Sitting is tomorrow.
Normally, Mondays we don't even go to Parliament.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's another day in my life. Yeah.
So what's your plan? I mean, what are you doing now? You're a lawyer.
Yeah,
so.
I'm a lawyer, and I've always been a lawyer.
Yeah.
I still practice law, so I have some cases on certain dates. So I'll just continue.
Okay.
There are many other things I'm doing on the side.
Yeah.
That keeps me.
Are you going to try to get back into Parliament?
As a good or astute politician, you live one day at a time. I have an attitude that tomorrow is unpredictable. So I don't sit here and second guess 4 years from today. There are many opportunities in politics, and at the right time, I think I'll make a decision. Yeah.
So what would you say you've left for the people of North Dai?
Well, I'm sure that the people of North Dai will be the best judges, will be the better judges. I charted a path, and I may not know whether the line has been very straight or not. To the best of my ability as a human being, with the skills that I have, with the capacity I developed, I think that I left the service as a member of Parliament for the Republic with high applause. I've done phenomenal things in that district, and it's incidental that I am the first MP, from that district.
Because it was newly created then?
Yes, newly created. And I think that within the past 3 years, 4 years, the work that we have put in with the assistance of the District Assembly and my DCE, I think that we can walk with our shoulders very high, knowing that we give of our best. It's not everybody who is expected to appreciate, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. But I think that we've done. There is no sector, where you cannot find our footprints, be it everything you can think of, and so I think that we've played our part. Played our part, and I feel good about it.
What would you miss about being an MP?
Well, what I will miss would be the pressure.
The pressure from where?
Everybody. Parliament itself, constituents, it's very uncomfortable, but, it's something that for a while will become a part of your life. That you wake up every day with a group of people looking for you, group of people wanting one thing or the other. In one vein, it is good because you get to relax a lot more. You don't wake up edgy. You don't wake up telling yourself, hey, Charlie, this thing I have to, Charlie, this guy. And then the calls keep coming and everybody is looking for their pound of flesh. I mean, it's more, and since the primaries has been going down, and I think I'm enjoying that part as well.
Okay.
So it's a balance. I mean, sometimes you may be saddened that you are not there to do the things that people need to be done. But like I said, the flip side is great also. I mean, I spent one of the best Christmas this year, because I spent parts. Normally, I would do Christmas and New Year in the constituency.
Okay.
But at least this time, I did Christmas in Accra, and I did most of the rest of the days in the constituency.
Okay.
I still had a lot of people come to my house. Actually, people came over. We had great time. We had drinks. We ate together and things like that. But what I'm saying is, at least 25th, 26th, I also got to
some
lie.
Family time.
I also got to lie on the floor in my hall, and the kids jumping over you and grabbing these. Daddy, I want Fanta. I want this. It was fun. So it's a win-win situation for me. I think so, yeah.
But, you know, some people fear that there are many MPs who will retire poor.
I think they are right. And in fact, those who are going back to Parliament are going to back to Parliament starting all over again. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that needs to be looked at. And that Ghanaians should focus on some of these things rather than just bashing MPs. It's a pity because most people do not even know what it's in there when they get in there. And so when they do find what is in there, they become confused. You know, most people would have wished that they never did. You know?
Oh, really?
Yes, because if you are running a business and you are a successful businessman and enter Parliament, take it that your business will perform at 40% or 30%. Some lose it completely. Because once you wear the political tag, everything should be free. If you are an MP who had a bus, very soon people will want to be taking that bus free. You know, even as a lawyer, people expect more pro bono from you than anything else. People forget that you live on a salary, and therefore everybody thinks that when they come, once they see you, they must go away with something. In actual fact, it's so interesting so much so that there are people who come not from your constituency, but people who see you on television, people who hear your voice on radio, they know your name. There are people who come there and they don't know their own MP's name, but they know your name. So when they come, they mention your name. And then once you come out, they expect that if you do not give, you are the worst thing that happened to mankind. You know, there's so much viciousness. There's so much, I don't know. I sometimes when you sit back in the quiet of your room, you wonder whether you did the right thing. But I can also assure you that, Mama B, when that person calls and says, thank you, we went to the hospital, the operation has been successful, and you know that it was successful because you went out of your way to give that 2,000, that 3,000, that 5,000 cedis. You know, there are little kids with tumor who you contributed to, and today they are walking around freely. It feels good. There are people who say, thank you, but for you, I couldn't have finished school. You know, it's exciting. There are communities who come to you and say, thank you, we now have light in our communities. There are communities who come to you and say, thank you, we now have a public address system. So yes, it's a difficult job, but also there are moments when, if you are not strong, you could have tears in your eyes. I mean, I am grateful to God that I had opportunity sometimes. You know, there are people in tech who got chemical engineering and their parents can simply not afford. You go out there and you support them. There are people who are in nursing training that you supported fully. You couldn't support everybody. But there are people who came crying at the eve of registration being expired, and you have to find you find money, and today they are in school, and occasionally they'll call you, you know, and thank you. There are people you've become so attached to through that assistant that now you have a duty now occasionally to even make mobile money transfers to students in schools, some whose parents you've never met, you know. So
who would continue all that support? Is it the person who takes over from you?
It's not mandatory, because some of those things you are doing from your personal resources. Will the person want to do the same? No. They may have different things they want to do. I have said to myself that those that I can continue to support, I will. Because tomorrow, somebody else may support my family members. So, I mean, it doesn't spoil anything. I mean, by my own orientation, I mean, I've been a Lions Club member for close to 20 years, if not more. And that is what we did. That's what we learned, and it's become part of our lives. Service is something that we do. And so, for me, it's another opportunity to even do more service.
Let's talk about this 7th Parliament. We have a lot of new faces, over 100 of them. A lot more from the majority side now, less from the minority side. Did you get the opportunity to meet them?
No. There were a couple of meetings actually, but I was doing other things.
Okay.
Yes, I was doing other things also for Parliament, so I didn't have the opportunity to attend their meetings.
I have the Finder newspaper, and one of the stories in the Finder, particularly on page 14, is Parliament worried over high attrition rates. And I wonder, I mean, this is what is supposed to be, right? Because nobody can assure that all those who've gained lots of experiences will be there in the next parliaments. This is what is supposed to happen. It could have been that all 275 would have, gone out and new 275 would have come in.
It's only one way, one of several ways. In other countries, they do what they call fencing.
Fencing?
They do what they call fencing. They fence their experienced parliamentarians. And so they make sure that either you sail through your primaries or nobody contests you. And people like Margaret Thatcher, if you go into the UK, people didn't even realize that she was contesting in constituencies that were not hers, because they were sure that it was a safe seat and she would win. And that's how come she became prime minister. So in other jurisdictions, there are ways of protecting people who have served in parliament. And that is, in the UK, that's the bane of the whip system in parliament. Your whip should be able to tell your government or your party that A, B, C, D, E, F.
We need them.
We need them back in parliament. Unfortunately, in Ghana, it doesn't happen. And I'm sure that is why the call is coming, because gradually parliament gets bashed. Gradually, people lose faith in parliament simply because of attrition also. Because you see, by the time you have 4 years in parliament, if you apply yourself well, the wealth of information, the wealth of knowledge that you've gathered within that space of time, if you're not lucky, it goes waste.
Yeah.
And then the new person comes, you spend even more resources in getting them to learn this thing, and some may never get it. Because it is, parliament is such a sophisticated place. People think it's all you see in plenary. No. Parliament is not what you see in plenary. Parliament is not what you see when the cameras are there and Mr. Speaker is saying order, order, and people are jumping. No. Parliament is serious business when it comes to committees. That is where you take key decisions. Even more complex is when we are doing consideration of bills. And that is why during consideration of bills, you see 20 on the majority side, maybe 30 on the minority side, or sometimes 15 here, 10 there, out of 275, because it is a laborious process a lot of people are not conversant with, they don't want to know. But without them, and those are critical decisions. What goes into your right to information bill, for instance, will be what people doing consideration decide. So they must be knowledgeable people who have read widely, who understand what others are doing with the law, who has researched thoroughly, who have looked at the AU model, the EU model, and all that. Very few people spend their time to do that.
Can I just use you as an example? You spend very little time in parliament, but you were very vocal. You spoke on the floor, you were on committees, you were really relevant. Can't anybody follow what you did?
Well, Mama V, I thank you for those compliments. I always tell people when I hear that well, I didn't take myself that seriously. I thought I was just doing my job.
No. I mean, you were.
I thought
everybody who goes for the first time.
I thought I was just doing my job, and I'll say thank you to people like our new second deputy speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. He was like a father. Yele and all the rest, because I didn't let them rest. Even where I've read something at home and I woke up at dawn and read something and I come to Parliament, I'm looking out for you. The moment I see you, I say, Charlie, leader, I read this thing, Charlie. What do you think? There's this motion coming up. How should the Attorney General do it? Because as Vice Chairman of Constitutional Legal, I will say that then when the Attorney General comes in, she works under my committee. So you shepherd her with motions and things like that. And so you should be on top of that if you want to really do your work. As ranking member, deputy ranking member of Public Accounts Committee, you must read your reports. You must do the checks. If you can't call an auditor and say, look, this is what I found in the auditor's report. How does it play out in real life? If you don't do that, you will go there and you'll be a pedestrian. Because half the time, I mean, and I'm being frank, sometimes I get demoralized myself. Because you have a member sitting by you, there are issues going on the floor, and he consistently bugging you. What did they say? What are they saying?
They're simply not paying attention.
They're simply either not paying attention
and
or
are
lost on the procedure completely. Parliament is a house of procedure. And then also, your own preparedness to learn very fast. You know, my first experience with Parliament, if I may share, I was just a member of Constitutional Legal. Honorable Bagbin at the time was very busy. He was chairman. In fact, Dominic Ayeni was chairman when he was appointed Deputy Attorney General. We virtually had to beg Honorable Bagbin to come. And you know, it's a committee where a lot of people didn't like to serve because they think there's so much work and it takes all your time and you don't get to get anything anyway. So, you know, but I took an interest in it and I just loved the whole idea of making laws. So I was reading around, I was watching procedures, I was very careful. And I was always going to Bagbin. I'll call him, leader, are you coming to the house today? When he comes, I'll go and sit by him. So, okay. Then one day, my chairman was nowhere to be found. My vice chairman was around and then he vanished. I had sneaked into the bar to have a cup of coffee. Then the chief whip comes in there in the middle of the coffee and says, are you a member of the Constitutional Legal? There's a report you must present. I said, hey, but this thing, I don't know, leader. I said, hey, come pass. So when I got there, the first attack was, he's not the chairman, he's not the vice chairman. So why is he presenting the report? The speaker had to protect me by saying, are you a member of the committee? I said, yes. He said, go ahead. And you should have seen the heckling from the other side. But of course, my being a lawyer, my being a media person had prepared me for that. So I took that in my strides. I presented the report. And that was the beginning. Now, I mean, I'm surely that she was confident enough to call me and appoint me to do all sorts of things. And I found myself on ad hoc committees and things like that, and I'm normally surprised. But I also work with the clerk at table.
Okay.
It's something that a lot of people that get lost. Mr. Jethro is a walking encyclopedia of parliamentary rules and procedure. And so I talked to him. I mean, I struck a first name basis. I call him Ahuma. I call him at night. We talk. Charlie Ahuma, tomorrow, what's up? This thing is coming up. Well, how do you do it? Even in the chamber, you call him. Charlie, you know, that is how you take your clerks seriously. My clerks were my personal friends. I did not treat them as clerks of parliament. I treated them as colleagues. And so I was on first name basis with them. So I called, Charlie Erikus, what is up today? Charlie, can you get me that document? Amot. I used to, Erikus.
You found a way of
connecting. My public Abigail. I said, Charlie, Charlie, report. You know, so you are there. They feel comfortable to call you anytime. So you are working as a team. You don't go there and say that I'm honorable, so yeah, I have a chip on my shoulder and working around. That is not how it works. If you want to be that, you will go to parliament and stay there for 12 years and nobody hears of you. If you want to apply yourself and work on the floor, no job should be too difficult for you. Whether it's your committee, there are times I've been called, consult for this committee, give them some big legal backing. And I've done it without expecting anything in return. And so that is how you do. You just work, okay? You just work because that is what you are called to do.
How long, and I've asked this question before, how long does it take for one to be able to speak on the floor of Parliament?
Oh, you can do it the first day.
Yeah?
If you catch the speaker's eye, it could be a disaster.
If you're new?
If you're new, it could be a disaster for you. It could also be your breakthrough. It's like a lawyer appearing before the Supreme Court. I've seen a colleague lawyer appearing before the Supreme Court and the court told him not to show up again there for the next 5 years because he was such a disaster. So that is it. The tension and the heckling can be monumental. You must be super strong and on top of the agenda, the subject matter, the topic, to be able to break through.
Okay.
Sometimes what we are Parliament is devising now is that maybe there may be, and I was happy when Professor Kwe made that they were going to find time for the freshers, because they need to do that now because there are so many in the house.
Yeah.
You know, you see that there'll be days when they should call only the first timers. Maybe they want to do that kind of thing. And I remember Bagbin was trying to introduce that, where maybe Fridays is only for freshers or backbenchers, where you get attention. In Nigeria, they are looking for an opportunity where they'll come to a time when backbenchers will lead the front pew. It's a difficult place to be. I've been there once or twice. And, you know, you must be able to think on your feet to be able to do be able to do that.
Let me just get your take on the new leadership of Parliament. What do you think from the Speaker, First Deputy Speaker, second? The Majority Leader has a female Deputy Majority Leader.
You know, one thing that excites me about the new leadership, and I always, when I get opportunity, I tease them. You know, I tell some of them, and I said, I was your boss. You know, most of them are on the constitutional legal. Haruna Idrisu served on the in the sixth parliament. Yes, he was
ranking member.
Ranking member. Now, Adwoa Safo, no, in the sixth parliament, Haruna Idrisu was a member of the constitutional legal. Adwoa Safo was both a member of constitutional legal and public accounts committee. A lot of them, you know, were there. Some of the leaders have been appointed. In fact, the first deputy speaker was the ranking member of constitutional legal, so I worked closely with him. Professor Okwe has been deputy speaker, so I don't think that, I think it's familiar turf for him. Honorable Gbagyin, as I was telling you, was a member of constitutional legal, became chairman of constitutional legal, and left on to become leader. So these are people, it tells you that the constitutional legal and parliamentary affairs committee is producing solid people in leadership in parliament. I think that if you take the plenary of, I mean, Ahmed, from the minority side, Haruna is great. I have all the confidence that he will live up to expectation. Abeji is critical to be his deputy, because when it's legal issues, Haruna can.
And when it's finance,
and when it's finance, so I think that it's a great pair. You know, either of them could have interchanged, but I think that the two of them make fantastic pair. Muntaka has already been whip, and so we know his capabilities. Ahmed has also been deputy whip. Doyo Ganza has just come in, so I'm unable to assess her the way I'm assessing the rest. She was a minister of state and therefore did not spend as much time in parliament as yes, but she is the only female there, and I hope that she is able to hold her own, you know, on the gender side. Like I said, Osechi Mensah has been a fantastic minority leader, and I believe that you'll be a great majority leader. Adwoa is passionate about work. That's one thing.
So I hear.
She's passionate about work. She attends committee meetings regularly. We travel to Kufuria, wherever we go, she's there. Public accounts, she's there. You know, so I think that she and she contributes actively. She's very, very active when she comes to committee meetings, and she puts across her points forcefully. So I think that she would, with Osechi Mensah, with her experience and with her malleability, her ability to learn fast, and her willingness to learn, I think that she will make a great. Chiremi, who is their whip, he's a good friend. He was a friend of the Constitutional Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, so I've worked with him.
But is he that firm? Is he one that can actually equip members?
Well, the position in itself is a strong one. It's a key position.
But the individual must also have that.
Yes, but I'm saying that already the position of whip is something that we don't take lightly, because he has the ability to undo you as a member of parliament. He has the ability to really project you as a member of parliament.
Okay.
So you don't play around with them. You know, you don't play around with them.
Well, what exactly do they do?
See, the whip are like the school prefect. The school prefect. If anything is wanted, if anybody is wanted to do something, or even your being on committees and things like that, they are the people.
Okay. So just like you were called when there was no member of that committee that had to present.
And sometimes he's a key leader, so decisions on who are we sending to Tokyo to represent Parliament could be at the behest of the. You say no, I think that George Lowe is better than this person or that person.
Okay.
You know, and I've seen that happen, because occasionally you're walking around, then you see your whips call, you pick it, George, this area of expertise, what do you know about it? How much do you know about it? Oh, okay, I'll call you back. And the next call will translate into, we want you to go to Mexico to attend this conference. This is the position. So the whip is quite powerful. The deputies, one normally is in charge of welfare of members, and then one assists. Martin Nimdam is a very lovable fellow. Even though he's an MPP, we get on very well. We tease each other all the time, you know. And so I believe that he will also bring something to bear.
Okay. I was just following commentary on the inaugural ceremony on Saturday, and some people felt from the comments that the speaker was a bit slow. They felt he looked old or something. I mean, what do you think? What kind of person do you need as a speaker?
The speaker should be one who is principled, who is fair, who is firm, who understands his job. Speakership is not an act of going to carry concrete at a construction site, or nor is it a farming business where you are going to use cutlass and hoe. For us as lawyers, the older you are, even the better. Lord Denning was 80-something years. And yet, a speaker is more like a judge. Okay, it's more like a judge. The older, sometimes the better, provided the person is rich in knowledge. Like I said, Michael Quay, Right Honorable Michael Quay, has been Deputy Speaker. So he knows that office well. He's presided over the House countless times. Thankfully, he has a very relatively young speaker on, I almost called him Joe Wise, Honorable Osei. And he is fresh at the job. But knowing him from my work with him in Parliament, he's smart enough to catch up within the shortest possible time. You should watch him out in 3 months and he'll be a phenomenal revelation of the speakership. Agbam Sumani Gbagmin is super knowledgeable with parliamentary procedure and everything. So he may not do much of the city, maybe because of his age and because of the few things that, you know, Bamford Ado, Right Honorable Bamford Ado, who was retired. I'm sure she was relatively old, and maybe possibly older than Aaron Okwe. But, you know, in Do Ajaho and the other deputy, I think they did very well. So it's not necessarily a matter of being boisterous or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dignified position. And those of us who know Right Honorable Do Ajaho, for what he shows on the chair, it's just 10% of what is in him.
Yeah?
He's a very fiery person. But as speaker, he had learned to tone down considerably.
Okay.
The office even sobers you to that level because you are so powerful. You know, you can even preside over the impeachment of the president. So that's how serious you are. Yeah. So it's and people shouldn't worry. I think that he will hold his own well.
Okay. Yeah. What's your gut feeling? Will this parliament be a vibrant one? What do you think this parliament will represent?
It depends on the individuals who find themselves there. You know, Parliament, like I said, Parliament is a sophisticated place. You see, I get people call me and say, but Charlie Fifi Kwete, Kwashiga and others are there, but we don't hear of them. It is not because they are not performing, but that's how Parliament is. It sobers you. And when you are outside, what you see is totally different from what is inside. It's governed by rules. Even your standing orders tells you how to conduct yourself and how to behave, what to say, what you can say, what you cannot say.
Yeah.
You know, and so it depends on
the members.
And then of course, you see, Mama V, the truth of the matter is that very soon members will find that the honeymoon is over. That constituent who was holding your bag very soon will start calling you a thief. And that you can spend the whole day cringing about the fact that, Charlie, next week there's this funeral in the constituency, I have to go. And so I need to find 10,000 cedis before I can get there. If I don't get 10,000, I'm dead. And so you see, they spend a lot more time trying to look for that 10,000 than to sit in the house and do business. Wow. They will soon find out that several things that they haven't planned for happens. Those who today are saying, oh, you are the best thing that happened to your constituency, give them 6 months. Because they will come and ask for rent. They will come and ask for money to buy a taxi. Your own friends, who you are on first name basis, suddenly thinks you are too known because You are not picking as much of their calls. What they don't realize though is that when you leave your phone, the last time I even when I was exiting Parliament, I was with somebody and the person kept, I said, okay, you are do an exercise. So I left my phone somewhere and I went out with him and we had a long discussion. When I came back, I had 2,000 WhatsApp.
All these things
Yes.
that you've outlined,
Yeah.
are they things that happen to you?
Oh yes. They're happy, and they're happy to everybody.
Amazing.
They're happy to everybody. You will find that suddenly your friends say, hey, these days he doesn't mind us. So when we call him, he doesn't pick. But you see, if you come from a constituency of 124,000, 150,000, some people 200,000, and you become the eye of the constituency, everybody thinks that you can solve every problem because you are in Parliament.
Yeah.
Then the lies will start. Because they don't believe, for instance, that even when we are doing army recruitment, you don't have anything called protocol. So people will say, there he goes. I hear they gave him 200, he sold it. That is it.
Amazing.
So it's a difficult place, and people must begin to understand how difficult that job is.
We appreciate the insights that
yeah.
you've given. I wonder why we haven't had this kind of conversation before.
But I
thank
think
you
that
so
we should
much.
have it more often.
Yeah, we should.
And it shouldn't come from those in Parliament today. You see, when they say, people say they are finding excuses.
Yeah.
But we can tell, those of us are out. And I'm sure if you
Yeah.
parade a lot of us, you will get different.
Yeah.
And look, people have lost election, and if they tell you why they lost, it's amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes very petty
Very
reasoning.
petty.
Yeah.
It's something they
But
can. They have
we're
no
grateful.
control over.
We're grateful. We're grateful that you could join us. And I don't wish bad for you, but I kind of like it that you're out of Parliament, because now we can call on you like every day.
But
Thank
Mama,
you, Mr.
Mama, you know
Joshua.
that I have tried hard to be here.
Yeah, I know.
As often as
I know. It's true. You've been faithful.
Yes,
You
as
have.
often as I
we
can.
wish you well.
Thank you very much.
In your endeavors.
And
we know that you'll be keeping a close eye on the government. So.
Well, yes, it can only get better.
Yeah.
And what we can promise is that we'll keep an eye on government, but it will be constructive.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I like that very much. Stay with us. Becky has entertainment here on the AM show just before we wrap up. So stay with us.